It's 2 a.m. in Seoul. A woman is walking alone through an empty alleyway. She's not checking over her shoulder. She's not gripping her phone. She's not scared. A group of university students spills out of a pojangmatcha nearby. Loud. Drunk. Happy. Nobody flinches. No police visible. No security cameras she's aware of. No enforcement of any kind. And yet, nothing happens. If you're from most major cities in the world, this scene feels impossible. It isn't. Korea is one of the safest countries on the planet, and it has almost nothing to do with policing. The real enforcement system is invisible. It runs on two cultural algorithms so powerful they don't need uniforms, badges, or handcuffs. Their names are Nunchi and Shame Architecture. And once you see how they work, you'll never look at a safe street the same way again. This is K-Logic, and today we decode the system. Picture this. You've just landed in Seoul for the first time. It's late, past midnight. Your hotel is a 15-minute walk from the subway station through a maze of narrow back streets. In London, you'd order a cab. In New York, you'd check the route twice and keep your phone in your pocket. In Seoul, you just walk. And somewhere in that walk, you notice something you can't quite name, a quality of the street that feels different. People sitting outside at midnight, completely relaxed, convenience store staff chatting with customers through open doors, an elderly woman walking her dog at 1 a.m. without a second thought. The absence of threat is so complete, it almost feels engineered. It is. Korea consistently ranks among the top 5 safest countries in the planet. The 2024 Global Peace Index places Korea at 43rd globally. But for urban street safety specifically, Seoul routinely outperforms cities with far higher police-to-citizen ratios and far more sophisticated surveillance infrastructure. The hardware doesn't explain the outcome. What explains it is software. Specifically, 2 cultural algorithms that have been running in Korean society for centuries, so deeply encoded into daily behavior that most Koreans couldn't consciously articulate them, but every single person on that 2 a.m. street is running them simultaneously. The first is Nunchi, the social GPS that reads the room and calculates the optimal action in real time. The other is what K-Logic calls shame architecture, the invisible governance structure that makes antisocial behavior not just legally risky, but socially catastrophic. Together, they form the most efficient public safety system ever built, and it doesn't cost a single won in enforcement budget. To understand how Korea's safety system actually works, you need to map both algorithms separately, then see what happens when they run together. Algorithm 1, Nunchi as threat detection. In our previous analysis, we decoded Nunchi as Korea's social GPS, the real-time data processing system that reads facial expressions, tone, body language, and ambient atmosphere to calculate the optimal social response in 0.1 seconds. Most international analyses of Nunchi focus on its positive applications, reading when someone is tired, sensing when to offer help, knowing when to stay quiet, but Nunchi has a security function that rarely gets discussed. Nunchi is a distributed threat detection network. Every Korean street is simultaneously a sensor node, constantly processing social data, flagging anomalies, and adjusting behavior accordingly. The drunk person acting erratically, the stranger whose body language doesn't match the social context, the interaction that feels slightly off. In a Western city, threat detection is largely outsourced to institutions, police, security cameras, emergency services. The individual's role is passive: observe, report if necessary, avoid if possible. In Korea, threat detection is distributed across every member of the community simultaneously. The collective Nunchi of a crowded street processes far more data, far faster than any surveillance system ever built, and it responds in real time, not with force, but with the subtle social pressure of collective awareness.
The person considering antisocial behavior on a Korean street doesn't just face the risk of getting caught by authorities, they face the immediate, inescapable awareness that every person around them has already noticed, already calculated, and is already adjusting their behavior in response. That awareness alone is a more powerful deterrent than most enforcement systems. Algorithm 2. Shame Architecture. This is the mechanism that converts Nunchi's threat detection into behavioral compliance, and it is the part of Korea's safety system that outside observers most consistently misread. Shame architecture is not about individual guilt. It is a structural feature of Korean society, a distributed governance system that makes the social cost of antisocial behavior so catastrophically high that rational actors consistently choose compliance over violation. The key word is catastrophic. In Western legal systems, the primary deterrent to antisocial behavior is legal consequence: fine, arrest, imprisonment. These consequences are relatively contained. They affect the individual within a defined legal framework for a defined period. In Korea's shame architecture, the consequence is communal and permanent. A single act of visible antisocial behavior doesn't just trigger legal risk, it triggers a cheomyeon collapse, an immediate, public downgrade of the individual's reputation capital across their entire social network: family, workplace, neighborhood, extended community. The damage is not temporary, it is transmitted through the dense social networks that Jong maintains, and it persists for years. For a Korean, the calculation is not, will I get caught? The calculation is, what happens to everyone connected to me if this becomes visible? That question, running simultaneously in every member of the community, produces a behavioral standard that no police force could replicate at any budget.
Every system has a shadow. Korea's safety system works. The data is unambiguous. For the traveler, the resident, the woman walking alone at 2 a.m., the output is genuinely extraordinary. A major global city where physical safety is not a daily calculation feels like a profound gift. But the system that produces that safety is the same system that produces something else entirely. The shame architecture that prevents crime also prevents dissent. The Nunchi network that detects threats also detects difference. The social cost calculation that stops the drunk man from starting a fight also stops the employee from reporting their manager's misconduct. The mechanism that keeps the street safe at 2 a.m. is the same mechanism that keeps the bullied student silent. This is not a flaw in the design, it is the design. Korea's safety system is built on communal surveillance, not institutional surveillance, but something far more intimate and pervasive. The awareness that every member of your community is simultaneously a censor, a judge, and a potential amplifier of your social failure is the same awareness that keeps the street safe and the individual compliant. The statistics that sit alongside Korea's safety rankings tell the other side of the story. Korea consistently ranks among the highest in the world for workplace stress, burnout rates, and, most painfully, suicide rates. The pressure of perpetual cheomyeon maintenance, of living under the constant nunchi of your community, of knowing that a single visible failure can cascade through your entire social network, that pressure has a cumulative psychological cost. The 2 a.m. street is safe because everyone on it is running the same calculation. The social cost of antisocial behavior is too high. But that calculation runs 24 hours a day in every context for every member of the community. There is no off switch. Understanding this doesn't diminish the achievement, it completes the picture. Korea built one of the most effective public safety systems in human history by encoding communal accountability so deeply into individual behavior that enforcement became unnecessary. That is a genuine feat of social engineering. The question the modern world needs to sit with is this: at what point does a system so effective at producing compliance begin to extract more than it returns?
The modern world has a safety problem.
And like Seoul Metro's efficiency problem, it is not primarily a hardware problem. More cameras, more police, more enforcement infrastructure. These are the standard responses, and they consistently underdeliver because they are attempting to solve a software problem with hardware solutions. What Korea demonstrates, at scale, across decades, in one of the most densely populated urban environments on the planet, is that the most effective public safety system is one that doesn't require enforcement at all. Not because people are naturally law-abiding, but because the social cost calculation has been so thoroughly encoded into individual behavior that antisocial acts become genuinely irrational choices, not just legally, but socially, relationally, and communally. The traveler who arrives in Seoul and walks those 2 a.m. streets is experiencing the output of a system that took centuries to build. The Nunchi that reads the room, the Chemyon that makes visible failure catastrophic, the Jong networks that transmit social consequence faster and more completely than any institutional reporting system. These are not policies that were implemented, they are values that were lived. Through colonial hardship, through war, through the compressed urgency of rebuilding an entire society within a single generation. And they produced something remarkable, a city of 10 million people where a woman can walk alone at 2 a.m. and the greatest risk she faces is missing her subway connection. For the modern traveler, understanding this changes the experience of Korea entirely. The neighbor who notices when your routine changes is not being intrusive. They are a node in a safety network that has kept this community secure for generations. The social pressure to maintain face, to read the room, to stay within communal norms, these are not constraints on freedom. They are the architecture of collective safety. The question worth carrying home is not, how do we copy Korea's safety system? The answer to that question is, you can't copy it. It was grown, not installed. The real question is, what does it mean for a society to be so committed to each other's safety that enforcement becomes unnecessary? Korea answered that question, at considerable cost over many generations. The 2 a.m. street is the proof. K-Logic will continue decoding the invisible systems that make Korea one of the most logically fascinating societies on the planet, because the blueprint was always there. You just needed to know what you were looking at.